All right, students, so welcome to the lesson. And in today's lesson, we're going to be revising this sessional paper for 2025 CS110. So, like I said, this revision is going to focus on questions for Excel and C++ programming. Since these are the things which need a little bit of logic, but these other things, it's just some theories which you can answer if you've studied the information notes. Okay, so we are going to answer these two questions. So let's start with the question for Excel. So we have question 1 here, and this question was a mandatory. Now imagine if you have no ideas about Excel. So before I even read anything about the question, I'm going to begin by telling you that the secret behind Excel is just knowing the formula, like the theory of Excel. It's like understanding the formulas. There are more than hundreds of formulas, but you just need to understand the most important ones. Okay, that's why if you're on A+ Academy app, this document is called Excel Simplified Notes. It's found under Term 2 Notes. So one thing I like about this document is it has all the important formulas starting from here on page 28. The sum if, the if function, the count, the important formulas are here, and also here at the end, this table. This table is having literally the major ones. Maybe you might want you to use other formulas, but these are the main ones, the most important basic ones which they asking. Of course, Excel has got many formulas for deep calculations which you can use maybe for forecasting, to predict maybe the future outcomes based on certain data. There are those formulas for deep calculations. Now at your level, we don't really need those things unless these guys studying these other courses. Yes, you guys, they just want to familiarize you with the concepts of formulas, so they don't really go that deeper. Okay, so this table here, it's having important formulas, and you see that most of the formulas I'll be using, let me just say all the formulas that you are required to use for the question 1 are here in this table. Yes. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, so this is the question. So I'm using this phone to record. The reason why I'm doing this, I want to show those people who say that you need to have a computer for you to survive NS. So for you who don't know, I know the majority of you are aware that there is this app called Sheets. Not Sheets that you are thinking about. I'm talking about Sheets with double E. Where is it? This one, Google Sheets. I don't know if you can see it. Let me show you the icon of the app. So this one, I've circled. So go on Play Store and search Google Sheets. So this Google Sheets, when you open it, click on this plus here. Then when you click there, it will bring a new spreadsheet. So a spreadsheet will be created for you, and in that spreadsheet you can run any Excel formula that you know. It's like you are creating an Excel document. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to open this one. I've already let me get rid of this. Let me delete it. Okay, So I've typed the data which they gave us. I hope you can see. So this is the data which they have given us in the question. Z junctions on cells. Now let me go back to the question and read. Okay, so question one is saying that you are the manager of Z junction electronics. You maintain a monthly sales. And one more thing before I even proceed, Excel is very important. We're living in the world of technology. Any job is involving the use of computers, and the Excel is a software which is used like in every industry to keep data, data records, like to record information about the employees. You need this information about the business of the company, whichever department you'll be working in. And if it is you guys who maybe have those dreams of one, maybe in future you want to be promoted, you start working in offices, you are working with computers. Those people you see in offices with computers, they use this software to record information at any company or in any industry. Okay, so you being exposed in first year, it won't be hard in future to learn. And there are other softwares which we'll be using, there's Access Database. It is also a software, and it is another software which is usually used. And if you understand one software, one Microsoft software, then it will be easy for you to work with those. So you need to pay attention. Okay, let's proceed. So they're saying that you maintain a monthly sales record for your sales team. The table below shows a sales in Zambian currency for the first 3 months of the year. You want to perform some simple analysis on the sales. Carefully examine the table and answer the questions that follows. Okay, so this is the data given us. So look, on the exam, it will be theory. Whatever I'll be doing on the exam, you'll be writing. Me, I'll be doing it in a practical way so that you can understand. Okay, so instead of me recording a video, I'm just writing. I want to be demonstrating whatever we'll be doing so that you can understand Excel properly for you guys who haven't really practiced it a lot. Okay, so the first one, they're saying write an Excel formula for cell G4. I'm sure by now you know that G is used to present the column and 4 the row. Okay, so to calculate, they're saying that write an Excel formula for cell G4 to calculate the total sales for John Banda using the plus operator, adding January, February, and March sales individually. Okay, this is very simple. So they want you to find the sum, but you know that for you guys who have studied, so when you come to your to your Google Sheets app, what you do is you are going to click in this cell G4, then here enter text or formula. Remember that I'm sure by now you know that to enter any formula you need to start with an equal sign, right? Like this. Then after you do this, so they want you to find what? The sum by adding the what? The sales in January, February, March. Okay. So you're going to use the concept of referencing when you're writing a formula. So instead of you writing the exact figure, 1,200 plus 1,500, instead of you doing this, 1,200 plus 1,000, you are going to be using referencing of sales, whereby, let's say I want to say 1,200, instead of writing 1,200, you are going to reference it by saying it's in GFE. That's in D4, right? Let me check. B, C, yeah, D4. Okay, so you're going to say You start with an equal sign, then you say D4 plus, instead of saying 1500, you're going to reference it. The cell where 1500 is which cell? And when you're describing a cell, you start with the column, the letter presenting a column, and the number presenting a row, which is this is going to be E4, right? So it's going to be E4 plus F4, right? F4. Okay, then you click on like this. So have you seen the formula I've entered? So if you're someone who's practicing, you want to see like, is this happening? Where there's this mark, I don't know how to pronounce this mark symbol here. Just click on it, then boom, 4,000 will appear. It has just summed us the sales for John Banda of the 3 months, right? So this is one of the ways in which you can find the sum. Okay, so like now some of you might be wondering, why have I done this instead of using the sum function? Because there's this function sum like this, and you just put in the reference cells which you want to add. You pass them inside the bracket. So the reason why I've done this is because of this. When you come here, they have specified that use the plus operator unless they specify that use the sum function. Okay, unless they have specified that use the sum function, and there are many functions like I said. Okay, so usually they will try to give you a hint. So let's go to B. So what I just wrote is the formula you have to write on the exam, and you just have to write it. You don't need to do what I'm doing. I'm just doing this so that you can understand. Okay, so I've showed you the formula for A, right? So let's go to B. They are saying write an Excel formula for cell G4 to calculate the total sales for John Banda using sum function with argument separated by commas. So let me show you one thing about this sum function, this formula. So this sum, there are 2 ways of using it. It's either you pass in a range or you pass in the reference cells. You know the concept of referencing, right? What I was just doing, referring a certain cell. Yes, it's either you pass the referencing cells, separating them by commas. Since I think they have asked the question for using the range, so I'll show you. So the reason why they have specified this, there are 2 ways of using the sum. Okay, if they haven't specified, feel free to use any. So it's either you use the one of separating by commas or the other one where you pass a range. When you pass a range, you usually separate 2 referencing cells by the full colon. I'll show you when I go to question C. Okay, so you're going to say sum, then you just pass in the cells having the values, the reference. Let me say, you know, the word reference is very important because I'm referring to what is in the cell. So I'm going to pass in the reference to the cells having the values which we want to add. And the first one is what? Is D4, right? They have said for who? They have said for, yeah, John Banda. Okay, so I'm going to say D4, then I'll separate by a comma, then I'll say basically E4, separate by a comma, then F4, right? Okay, like this. Then click on equals. Have you seen? We have still gotten the same thing. So like these are some of the ways in which you can sum things up. Okay. Now, the easiest one, like the most efficient one, is range, because range you just like pick the range of, yeah, select the range which you want to be added, like the range of values which will need to be added. Instead of having to enter one by one, I'll show you how effective it is, which is, I think, what they have asked on C. So you just write this formula on the exam. Just write this. They just want to see the formula if you know the formula. Okay? No, don't explain anything. Just write them the formula. So this is how these two formulas are like can be used. Okay? So see, they are saying write an Excel formula for cell G10. So where's G10? Okay, we are going to come back to calculate to calculate the total of all cells in column G. Let me do this. Using the sum function with cell range as the argument. Okay. So for this one to be found, since as we are practicing, right? I need to show you how, like, I need to show you that it is working. Then after I'm done showing you, then I'll just show you that you write this formula. So for this to work, we need to find the total cells which are for all these people, for John Banda, Mary Zuru, for Peter Mwale, Grace Piri, David Tembo. We need to find the total. So I'm going to pause this video. I have a formula. For you who are using if you're using a computer, this formula which I've written, just position your mouse, a cursor of your mouse at the bottom. Have you seen this cell where I've written the formula? So you can replicate this formula by putting the cursor on the bottom right corner, on the what is called the crosshair or the fill handle, then drag it down. Okay, the formula will be replicated instead of having to redo it again. Okay, instead of having to type the formula again, you can use that shortcut. All right, so I've just found now the total cells for all these sales representatives. So instead of having again to do it manually, I had to use the formula in each of the cells. So yeah, it's even easy if you're using a computer. Maybe I just don't know how to do it on a phone, but I just had to retype the formula and change the cells referencing. Have you seen this cell? Try to observe the formula change here. So I had to change the numbers for the rows. Okay, so right now we have the total sales, right? So let's go back to the question. Let me just read it again. So they're saying write an Excel formula for cell G10. So G10 is here. G is here. Yeah, this is cell G10. So this is what the formula is going to be. So they're saying write an Excel formula for cell G10 to calculate the total of all cells in column G using the sum formula with a cell range as an argument. So let me tell you something. Let me maybe click here. Have you seen this formula I was using? Let me just check what is it that is wrong here. Okay, so I'm giving an example of this sum formula. So as I'm explaining, I want you to focus, your eyes should be more focused on this formula input. This one. This is where I'm showing the work which you need to be writing on your exam. Your exam is not practical, it is theoretical. Okay, so all these things I'm doing, you have to be imagining them in your head. Yes. You won't go with a phone or a computer there. No, you just go with your pen and you'll be given an answer sheet. So where I've just circled is where you should focus. So I've just typed a function of sum as an example. I want you to understand what an argument is. An argument is what you pass between the these bracket. These things between the brackets. Let me show you. Let me say call it. Like, have you seen the sum function? Like, between whatever comes between these brackets, these are called the arguments that you pass. So I was telling you that for the sum function, it's either you pass the argument separated by the what? The commas, like we did, or you use the range. So now, how do you use the range? What is a range? Like, why is it even called the range? So a range will save you from a lot of time, because um, a realistic case can be like you have like a lot of columns and you won't manage to be typing. Maybe imagine you have like 50 columns, and imagine you have to type each one from starting maybe from A8, B8, maybe up to I don't know where it is even going to end from. I don't know if it will reach letter Z, Z8. Like, imagine having to type all these A, B, C, Ds. So like range will save you from doing all those things. You just give like a range. I want the values in this row which are between this column and this column. That's what I mean, or which are between this cell and this cell. You give a range starting from this cell ending to this cell. You just give a range. Like, imagine instead of us having to type each cell D8, E8, F8, we just say I just want to sum from D8 to F8. You just type two cells, two referencing cells. You just type them. And then it will save you from time, right? Wasting a lot of time typing. Okay, so now let's use the range. They have said in G10, right? Where is G10? G10 is here. Okay, so as you can see, here is G10. So we need to use the sum, of course, but this time we are going to pass a range. Now a range, I'm not saying you are going to type range as a word range. No. Oh, right. So we are here. So I'm going to say, starting from what? G8, right? So I'll come here and I'll say, starting from G8, no, G4 to G8. G4. Then you separate by the what? The full colon. The last cell where the summing should end from. It is G8. So we say G8. And my God, I've forgotten. Whenever writing a formula, I start with an equal sign. Then I'll say equals. So it has calculated for us. Instead of you having to type in, no, G4 plus G5 plus G6 up to 7. Now imagine if you're ending maybe up to G100. You type G from G1 to 100. But range will save you from all those things. Okay. Let's go to the question. So we are now going to go on question what? Question D. Write an Excel formula for cell G11 to calculate the average total cells of all the cells representatives. I don't know if that's what it is meaning. Cell reps. It is like cell representatives, right? Okay, so I want you to find the average. We are on question what? D. Okay, so we're just going to find the average in G11. Okay, so let's go to our Excel. Okay, so average cells, it is a G11, right? I hope you are following. So let me come in my input. Then I'm going to say I'm going to use the function called the average function. And whenever you're using any of these functions, always start with a capital letter. So make sure that you type it. But if you're using Excel, they will suggest for you as you are typing. So for average, you pass a range, okay? You pass a range as well. So the same way we did from G4 to G8, right? Starting from the values in G4 to values in G8. G4 ending at values in G8, right? The average. So this is the average sales. Now, I'll repeat. What you should be writing are the formulas, not the outputs I'm getting. They're asking for the formulas. They won't ask you necessarily like what can be the value. I doubt. Maybe for some formulas like the if formula, I think and you know what they do sometimes. Let me give a hint of how they'll bring theoretical questions on Excel. Sometimes they will maybe give you data like they did, then they will write for you a formula and ask you what can be the output for this. That's why you need to understand. Imagine they'll just maybe tell you if a user runs average passing this range, what do you think will be the output? They ask that kind of a question as theory. They can ask you that. Chances are very high. Like this year 2025, they were lucky that they asked them to just write the formulas. Okay. Um so let's go to E. Write an Excel formula for cell G12 to find the lowest total sales in column G. So, and I don't know if you've observed, like, anyways, maybe I'll say that at the end. Okay, so now, if you've mastered the functions which are in that table which I gave you, that table which I showed you on the A Plus Academy app document, it is having like literally all the formulas that you need to answer these two questions. Yes. So here they just want us to know the Excel formula, yeah, for the lowest total sales. So you need to know that there is a formula called max and mini. I mean the function called max and mini. In this situation, the mean formula, it will give you the minimum, like the lowest cell or lowest value of whichever range you pass between. So you pass the range of values or referencing cells, then it is going to check which cell is having the lowest value. Yes, then it will give you the value which is the lowest. In this situation, the total sales. I hope you understand. I'm not using any deep English here. I'm just using basic English. I know some of you are afraid of computer, but it's not really that hard. Yeah, just a matter of maybe understanding and practicing. Okay, so let's go to our Excel. So here in mini cells, which is the G, they have said what? Yeah, G12. G12. Click on the input. Click on the input. And you say mini. Since you're looking for the minimum. Start with an equal sign. Make it a habit of starting with an equal sign. Then you say mini. Have I even done that? So I'll say equal sign. The moment you type with an equal sign, Excel will know that this person is writing the formula. So mini, let me click here. Then you pass the range. So we'll say G4 to G8, right? Because we're looking for minimum value of these numbers between this range. So it's a G4 and G8. G5. No, G80. So like you can see, running the formula, it has given us what? 3,500 as the lowest value between that range. I'm sure that the next question they're asking about the maximum, which is F. They're saying write an Excel formula for cell G13 to find the highest total cells in column G. Yeah. So they just want to know the highest. And for the highest, you use the max. And these are simple formulas, I think. Because, like in programming, you must a lot of formulas. Like real, I don't know, maybe here at first you're just having basic programming. But for you are making it to bang too. You find real programming, whatever you're doing in first year, the C++, it is just, they're just scratching your head. You'll be required to master functions, a lot of functions, to just write a complex program, okay? Anyways, but these are just basic things, these are basic functions. So let me run this. So that's the maximum value. Okay, we proceed. So they're saying G, write an Excel formula for G, okay, for G14 to count the number of cells, representatives or reps, listed in column B. Okay, but they are saying excluding the header. So like here they have deliberately said it because they don't want you to count it, even the header. So right now we're just counting how many cells were there in column B. So like here the function to use is the count. The function for counting. So there are three functions for counting. Let me go to that document on the A Plus Academy app. I want to show you something. So this document, make sure that you go through it, okay? So have you seen here? These are the functions to use when counting. There is count what? There's just count. There's count A, count blank, and count if. So like this document has explained when to use each. So if you just use count will only count the cells that contain numbers. So if a cell is containing like words, like maybe a name of a person, this function, if you just use count, that one, number one, it won't count it. But secondly, there is count A. Count A to count cells that are not empty. So as long as in a cell there's something, even if it's a number, a letter, a word, a symbol, it is going to count it. Then count blank, it counts cells that are blank. Have you seen? So maybe they can ask you which Shanshan was not recorded was blank, was maybe like they can give you like a different variety of data. So make sure that you go through this document, okay? And there's also count if. Maybe if you want to count where there's a certain condition, maybe you want to count people who got above 90%, or those who made maybe sales above a certain figure, you just want to count only them. This is where count if, where there's a condition of counting. You're not just counting anyhow, you're counting on a condition basis. That's when you use count if. Now, since this video is just for solving, I won't really waste much of the time like teaching, or I'll just make maybe a separate video teaching Excel. I don't know if you guys will need that, if it is necessary, but yeah, do practice these formulas, okay? So now I want you to think among these four, which one do you think is the formula we are going to use? Let's go back to the question. So this is where the majority screw up. You need to understand the question. They are saying that write an Excel formula for cell G14 to count the number of cell reps listed in column B. So if you look at column B, it's having not numbers, but things in letters, right? Not in numbers. So we want to use count. If you use count, you get things wrong. Instead, we'll use count A, because count A will count anything, right? Even if it's not a number. So this is going to be recorded in G. They have said G what? Mm, where are we? G14. Now imagine getting okay, but these are free marks. So imagine the table I've just showed you. If you were to memorize it this day, you're writing the exam, you memorize it like you master it. Then you guys getting 2 marks to just write a formula. Yeah. So let's go G. Write an Excel formula. So it is in G14 where we're writing the formula. Where is it? Uh, hmm? I think we screwed up somewhere. Okay. It's like I've deleted the formula. There's somewhere where I've made a mistake. Total sales, okay, we are summing up. Let me just pause this. Okay. So now let's write the formula. And uh, I'll show you when I write the formula. It's something I want to talk about. Okay, so we start with an equal sign. So to count, so we are using count A, right? Count A with a capital letter A. Then let me do this. So we are passing a range because we are trying to count things between a certain range. So we are counting, they have said in B, right? In column B. So you only need to count sales rep who are there. Starting from the names. If you look at this column, there's a row where the sales rep. Then there's another row, John Banda, and so on. That's why they specifically said excluding the what? The header. So meaning that when passing near the range, don't include the cell where sales rep is. Don't. Okay? Or the row, the entire row where sales rep is, don't even include it. You need to start from John Banda. In which cell is John Banda in? John Banda is in cell B. B what? That's B4. To what? To David Tembo. And if you're watching this video and your name is John, Mary, Peter, Grace, David, say hi in the comment section there. Comment with the hi. I want to see you. So up to B what? To B8. So you even say boom 5, which is even making sense because there are 5 people involved. So how they can ask you in the exam. Maybe they'll give you data like this. They'll just say, what will be the output of the formula? This one, which we are having. So it will be up to you to apply what you've understood. And for this video, I'm assuming you have understood Excel. I want to start from scratch, but I'll try to explain in such a way that even if you don't have ideas, you can get something at least. Is Excel hard? Especially the Excel you guys are having. This is very simple. There's advanced Excel, guys. Like there's advanced Excel course. Ask these people doing computer. They'll tell you. They will go deeper, like through those formulas, and also the dealing with the graphs. How you can put data on the graph, on the pie chart, all those things. They go deeper like that. So whatever you're doing, this is just the basics. It shouldn't be giving you a headache. Okay. So I've showed you the formula, right? So you just write the formula. So let's go. They are saying write an Excel formula for cell H4 to calculate the commission for John Banda using the commission rate in H12 with absolute referencing. Okay. Okay, so there's a concept you need to understand of absolute referencing. So there's mixed referencing, relative referencing, and absolute referencing. So maybe try to research about this. But if I'll make video lessons about Excel, I'm going to teach all these things. But maybe for now, I'll familiarize you with the absolute referencing. So and relative referencing. So they want you to write the formula to calculate the commission for John Banda for the cell H4, given the commission rate is. So here it's like this. If you've understood this data, it's like this. It's like there was a company. This company was hiring people to be selling stuff for them. Maybe they were going in field to sell, and these are called the sales representatives. Okay, so like what we are seeing here is that each person, they are showing us how much they sold in January. Like this is the currency. This is like in kwacha. That's why they said ZMK. Okay. Now these people, whenever they sell, they would make a certain commission from the sales. Okay. Now this commission was being calculated by multiplying the total sale of each person times the commission rate. If you've ever worked in the booth before, mobile money agent, there is a certain rate, commission rate, which you get whenever you perform a transaction. You deposit or someone withdraws to you, right? There is a certain percentage which the ISP, which can be Airtel, MTN, whichever you are working with as an agent, they have a rate which they follow. So even here, now in the question, they haven't given us a rate. Now, since me, I want to be more practical, I want you to be visualizing the data, because they can ask you questions which are requiring you to visualize or to maybe to say the output. That's why I'm being practical right now. So I'm going to come up with my own rate. So let's say, so in the question they have said what? Let's go back. They have said that uh, in the question they have said write an Excel formula for cell H4 to calculate the commission rate for John Banda using the commission rate in H. So let's go to H15. Where is it? So H15, my God. So H15 is somewhere here. So there was a certain rate, but they haven't given us for this question. Now I'm going to come up with my own rate. Let's say the rate was 0.2. So this means that whenever anybody sells something, I mean, whenever whatever you sell, whatever your total sales is, you will get 2% of that total sales. But usually in some businesses, they pay, and I'm being realistic. For you guys who have never been employees before, who have never worked for someone, usually when you're getting paid, they pay you less than 30% of your contribution. In case you don't know, being an employee, that's how it is. If you ask anyone who has been an employer before, or they have been employees for like a long time, they'll tell you the logic. Even in the company, let's say maybe you're getting employed as an engineer, you're getting paid the 50,000. Whatever you're getting paid is just less than 30% of your contribution. In fact, if it's a company, it's even little, maybe 1% or 10% of whatever you're contributing. So I'm being even realistic. Okay. So 0.2%. Now let's go back to the question. So the question is saying that where is it? I can even forget. Okay, I'm on H. So they are saying they want us to write the formula for John Banda in H4. H4 is okay. So to calculate the commission, since I've explained to you how commission is calculated, I'm sure you know I've said that they will give you a percentage of the sales, right, that you've made. So meaning that I'll get the total sales for this person. Now this is the formula you're supposed to write. And if you're using this app, maybe I'll make a video. When I start making video lessons for Excel, I'm going to teach even how to navigate this app. So have you seen where I've circled? I want to circle something. Yeah, not there. So where this ABC? So if you want to start typing numbers, tap on ABC. It will change, I think, to 1, 2, 3. Let me show you. So like this time, it is only showing numbers. If you want to type maybe letters, click on ABC. It will show you the keyboard for typing letters. And if you want to again to type numbers, click on 1, 2, 3. I hope you get it. But me, I would prefer just having this keyboard because it has everything that I need. Okay. So for commission for this person, it's going to be, so we are going to reference the cell where there is the total sales for this person. Who is this person? John Banda. So the total sales is in G4, right? So I'll say G4. Now the something I'm going to explain to you, absolute referencing, how you are going to apply it. G4. And you need to also understand in Excel the operators. You need to know, the mathematical operators for plus, minus, times, exponential. Let me show you in that document on the A Plus Academy app. My God, let me pause the video. Okay, have you seen this document on the A Plus Academy app? So like on page 20, I think 21, 22, these operators, you need to know them. Maybe they might give you entering a formula which is having exponentials. Yeah, but just be familiar with them, or dividing. So make sure that you use the proper symbol. Okay, so since we are multiplying, for multiplying, don't use these times. These times, no, don't do that. Use this. This is called an asterisk. This symbol is called an asterisk symbol. In programming, this is called an asterisk symbol. Then we multiply by the rate. Now, where is the rate? The rate is here, 0.2, which I've just come up with to make this more practical. It is in H15. So if we click on equals, so meaning that John Banda is going to get the commission of 800. The remaining amount is going to go to the boss. The boss is going to show it. Okay. So now, if you were to write like this, they will mark you wrong. Do you know the reason why? Because they have said absolute referencing. Let me go back to the question. If you look at the question, they have specified that with absolute referencing. Listen, if they didn't say absolute referencing, you should just do this, and that's the end. Now, if they have specified absolute referencing, just know that you need to do something. Okay? Or if they said relative referencing, you can just end here. This is just okay. You can write this. This is correct. But if they have said absolute referencing, don't just end here. You need to modify this formula a little bit by introducing the dollar sign. I'm going to explain why. The dollar sign in front of H, another dollar sign behind H. I don't know if it's in front or behind. Dollar sign behind H and another dollar sign in front of H. Now, you might be wondering, why have I done this? What do you mean? Why has the dollar sign come into our vocabulary? So, I think people who can understand this properly are the people using a computer. If you don't have a computer, this concept I'm about to explain, if you want to see it in action, if you want to practice this on the phone, maybe I don't know how to, but I'm more familiar with doing this on the computer. Okay, so you need to understand this. Do you know that, let's go back to, okay, let me do this. I want to explain the concept of absolute referencing and relative referencing, these two concepts. Have you seen, I've gone back to G4. At first, This is the first formula I entered, right? Now, do you know that instead of having to type the formula again, here you type, in each cell you type it. You can just type in one cell, then replicate this cell, meaning that the formula will be replicated in these other cells which the formula is needed in. Do you get it? And if you're using a computer, Excel on the computer, you need to put your cursor. Have you seen this comma box, this cell, which the active cell where I've typed the formula? Take the cursor on the bottom left corner. I mean, bottom right corner. This have you seen this box? This box is having this box right here. It is having some sort of a circular thing on the bottom right corner. Have you seen it? So put your mouse there, and it will bring some sort of an hair cursor, something looking like a plus. Then click on there on your mouse, left click and hold, then drag while holding, be dragging down to the cells where you want that formula to be replicated. Okay, and wherever you put the mouse is called the fill handle. What you're dragging is called the fill handle. In case I don't know if they ask these questions for you guys. Okay, so when you do that, that formula will be replicated without you having to type it. And when you're replicating, have you seen the referencing in the G4? I had D4, E4, and F4. In G5, I had D5, E5, F5. Have you seen the way the numbers are changing? And in G6, D6, E6, F6. So when you replicate, Excel is going to automatically handle this for you. It's going to even change the figures. As you are replicating in the next cell, it's going to change to D5. Let's look at D. The next cell is going to be D6 without you having to type it, by just replicating the formula. So now, when you're replicating the formula to the next cell, Excel automatically increases the number coming after a letter in whichever argument you've passed. So if I were to replicate this formula, let's say this formula didn't have a dollar sign. If I were to replicate this formula in this next column, I mean the next cell for the next sales representative, it's going to increase the number. G4 will become G5.
Too many notes, I'm never gonna finish this! Enter the A Plus Academy app. Learn physics, chem, math, and bio at my own pace.
Okay, so like I've explained, that if you are to replicate this formula to the next cell, this which is H4, no H5. Let's do this. This is H15, right? Okay, let me do this. Okay, so I'm saying that this formula, if you are to replicate it to the next cell, automatically Excel, while you're replicating, for you guys who maybe still don't understand what I mean replicating the formula, maybe, but I'll make videos for it. You can try to maybe look for a video explaining that. Just search somewhere, like search maybe here on YouTube or on Google, how to replicate a formula in Excel from one cell to the other. Yes, you understand what I'm talking about. So if I were to replicate this to the next cell, Excel is automatically going to increase from G4 to G5 and from H15 to H16. So that happening whereby when you replicate the formula, Excel increases the value of the role in the reference that is passed in the formula. It is what is called relative referencing. The concept of relative referencing is it just describes the behavior of Excel increasing the figures when you're replicating the formula. increasing the numbers accompanied by the letter representing a column. Increasing these numbers is what the concept of relative referencing means. I don't know if the English is not maybe that clear, but I'm trying my level best to keep it simple. Let me say that again. When you are replicating the formula from one cell to the other, Excel automatically increases the value of the row. This, for example, G4 will increase to G5 and H4 will increase to H6, like that, and so on. Even in the next cell, it was going to be just increasing. Still, where you are ending replicating at. So this behavior of Excel doing this is what is called what? Referencing. I mean relative referencing. Now, there is a way in Excel to avoid that. Let's say if you want that, I don't want H15 to change. Like we want, even if we replicate to the next cell, to be referencing to the same H15, because the commission rate is in H15. It is not anywhere else, because if you replicate this to the next cell, H15 will increase to H16, which will be an empty cell. So we want, if we replicate this formula, the H15 not to be tampered with. So to do that, we put a dollar sign behind H and another dollar sign in front of H. So by doing this, if you replicate this formula, you observe that only G4 will be changing. H15 will be just stuck, meaning that no matter how you replicate this formula, H15 won't change, will still be referring to the same cell, which is having 0.2. That is absolute referencing. So by doing this, by just putting the dollar sign behind H and in front of H, I've already applied the concept of what? Absolute referencing. Maybe if you are not to do this, maybe they can give you a half mark. But the way I know this department, they will just mark you wrong for just forgetting to add these dollar signs. Okay? So what I've just written right now is what you're supposed to write as your final answer, this formula. Let's proceed to the next question. So this is an interesting question. They're saying, write an Excel formula in column 1, starting in 14, that displays high displays high if sales rep total sales are greater than 5,000. Otherwise low, use if function. So even if they didn't say use, and you guys, they kept it simple for you. They are even telling you the function to use. You don't, instead of you memorizing it. So even if they didn't tell you, whenever in a position whereby you have to maybe to, like, how do I say this? To display certain information based on a certain value, based on a certain condition of some values, think of using if. I think if I'll make a lesson for Excel, these things I'll explain them properly. Okay. Okay, so we are going to use if. So what's very important about the if function is understanding the arguments you pass in. Is to understand what arguments, and just understanding the arguments you have to pass in. So they are saying in I, let me read the question again. An Excel formula in column I, starting in 14. So 14 is right here. Oh, starting in I4. My God, this is I4, not 14. I would have been confused. So in column I4. Okay, so they are saying what? Write an Excel formula in column I, starting in I4, that displays high if sales rep total sales are greater than. Okay, So you're going to type if in capital letters, if, start with an equal sign, then say if so here are the arguments which you pass. So the first argument is the condition. What is the condition in this situation? Let's go back and read. So they're saying write an Excel formula in column. So the condition is that if the total sales of a certain person are greater than 500, we need to display high. If they are less than if they are greater than 500, not 500, where is that coming from? If it is greater than 5,000, we need to display high. If it is less than 500, it need to display low. So you're going to do this. So in the if, the first argument you're going to pass, actually this function you pass 3 arguments. So the first argument you're going to pass is going to be a condition which is going to say that if for this person, if this person sells, so like the first person is what? He's who? John Banda, right? John Banda, the total sales for the first person is 4,000. 4,000 is in which cell? H4, right? So I'll say if whichever total sales which are in H4 are greater than, so what I'm writing right now is a condition, are greater than 500. 5,000. I don't know where 500 is coming from. Maybe someone today might send me 500. So this is the condition. The condition is that the condition is that the total sales of the certain person has to be greater than 5,000. Now, there are 2 possibilities of this condition. It's either this condition is met or it is not met. Okay? In mathematical terms, we say it's either this condition is true or it is false. So if this condition is true, if this condition is met, we need to display high. So what I'm going to do is that, so we need to display high, right? If this condition is met, whichever the condition, listen, I don't want you to memorize these things. I want you to understand them. This condition can be anything they can give you. Maybe it can be seen if a student has gotten above 100, above 50 or below maybe 50. Maybe they can give you data involving students. Then maybe they ask you to apply this condition, maybe to check if a student has gotten above 50, show that this person has passed. If below 50, this person has failed. So whenever there are 2 possible outcomes of the condition, think of this formula, okay? So the first condition is when it is true, right? When it is met, when that person has got a total sales of 5,000. So the question is saying that if this condition is true, if it has been met, we need to show high. We need to show high. So I'm going to type high. Now this I have typed always, and I repeat, this I should be in the quotes, double quotes, not just any quotes. You have 2 types of quotes. You have double quotes and single quotes like this one. So in Excel we use it because we want to display high where the total sales are greater than 5,000. We'll be displaying, since we are displaying these things, and these, since they are letters, they are not numbers, we need to use the double quotes. Yes. So if you forget to put double quotes, you will fail this question. You'll get it wrong. If you use single quotes again, you will fail this question. You'll get it wrong. Then we say comma. So have you seen the first argument, condition? Second argument, if the condition is met or if it is true. That's the second argument. A third argument is if this condition is not met, what should we show? So if it is not met, again, we are going to show low, right? So what we want to be showing if a condition is met or not met should be in double quotes, like this. So let's run this. So as you can see, it is showing low. Okay, it is showing low because this condition has not been met. Have you seen? Because this person has not gotten above 5,000. Let me check again. Yeah, greater than. Okay. Now, let me just change the numbers for this person. Okay, fine. Let me use this formula in maybe someone who got above 5,000. Let's say this person. Let me just copy the formula. Okay, so I'm going to copy this formula. So I want to try for someone who got above 5,000 so that you can see that this formula is working. So this person is in H, so I'll put H7 here because this person's the total sales is in, wait, what? Okay, I've made some miscalculations here. What is this? I mean, this person, it is in G, not H. Let me just double check this formula. I think I made a mistake on the first one. I think we screwed up here. Instead of using G, I don't know how I typed H. Yeah. So it should be G, not H. Wait. So the total sales for this person is in G4. So if this total sales is greater than 5,000, if it is true, it should show high. If it is false, it should show low. Like it is showing there. I don't know why it is underlined. And for this person who got 5,000 for 450, since this person's total sales, which are in G7, were above 5,000, it is showing high. Yeah, so this is how it's supposed to be. So I made a mistake here. I wrote H7, and here I typed H. Why am I making these unnecessary mistakes? Like I'm not used to using this app, so sometimes I don't know how these figures are, where I'm clicking for this. Okay, so let me check the question. Write an Excel formula. Yeah, so on the exam, the formula that we're supposed to write is this one. This one is the formula to use, and you can play around with these formulas. So let's go to the next question. Name any two other Excel formulas that can be used to quickly analyze sales performance in the table above, other than the one covered in the questions. Analyze. So let's go back to the notes I showed you. So that's why I said try to memorize these formulas. So you can maybe like the formula which hasn't been used is the formula maybe for product, and we've used the one for average. For counting we've used. Okay, so there are two additional formulas which I wanted to talk about, which are also very important. I'm sure they teach you. They are part of your syllabus. And these two formulas, the formula for rank formula, it is used to rank things based on a certain criteria. Now, looking at this question, they just said name any two other Excel functions that can be used to quickly analyze. Yes, so you can talk about product, you can talk about, product formula, you can talk about the VLOOKUP formula. So the other formulas that you should know, additional formulas apart from the ones I've just showed you, which are important. VLOOKUP formula, it is used to search. It acts like our search engine or search bar for the data. Instead of you having to in real life, usually you'll be having like a lot of data. Instead of you having to scroll, you scroll maybe down through a lot of data. You can just search using a formula. So that's why there's a formula called the VLOOKUP formula. And there is also a formula, they said to explain. There's also a rank formula. If you want to rank data based on certain condition, that's the formula which they even use to rank number one, who has passed number one. And with Excel, if you know maybe the total marks maybe for each student, the total marks, using the rank function, it can help you to rank from number one to number last in order. So you can even know who has passed number one, who has passed number 10, number what, with the rank function. Even the product function. If I make videos, the videos which I'm planning to make teaching Excel, I'm going to teach these two formulas because they are important at your level. They might be part of your syllabus. So write any two other formulas which can be used to analyze. Even the formula for forecasting. But there are many formulas. So, but I think these four I've mentioned, they are the major important ones.
First year courses stressing you out? Get access to solved materials and video lessons in all your subjects. Download the A Plus Academy app and learn at your own pace.
All right, so let's now look at the second question involving C++. So the question is saying that you are tasked with writing C++ program that converts a temperature given in Fahrenheit to Celsius. The program should prompt the user to enter the temperature in Fahrenheit, read the input value, calculate the equivalent temperature in Celsius using this formula, display the converted temperature in Celsius to the user. Simple program, right? So they are saying that, please note, the program below has most of the lines missing. Each comment in the code presents both the question number and a hint of what needs to be done. In your answer booklet, write the correct C++ code for each question number. You must indicate the question number for every line of code you write. Each question is exactly one line of code. Ignore the structure of the program. And they're saying that answers without question numbers or in a wrong casing will be marked wrong. So for those of you who are asking me that now when writing, how are you supposed to present your answers? I'm going to show you, okay? So let's start. So like you've heard, we'll be commenting each comment accompanied with the question and the hint. Then we write the code that is supposed to be there. So for you guys who are thinking that for you to do C++, you need a computer, you don't need to. Just go on Play Store. So go on Play Store and search for this app, CXX Droid. And this app, they have changed the name. it used to be called CPP Droid. Now they have changed to CXX Droid. This app here, which I've just circled with this icon. So this app. So I've written in advance the questions. There's question 1. I've commented out the questions. So only those things which are not part of the program should be commented out. Okay. Then so I'll be saying from question 1 up to question 12. But I'm following the structure of the program or the syntax. The main function like that. Okay. So let's start. Question 1, they're saying include the necessary library for input or output. So this one will start with hash, include this symbol, iOS trim, right? Hash include iOS stream. And I hope by now you understand the syntax of C++. Okay, so like the reason why we include this library whenever I write in C++ program is because this library will enable us to be able to print out and to get characters from the user. Like it will allow the user to input characters which we can use for our calculations, and also it will also allow us to be able to output to the user, to be able to use those functions which enable us to do printing out or outputting out and inputting the data. We need this imported. Okay, this is like a library which has got those functions which we use. They are found in this library. So like by just doing this, you've gotten how many marks were there? 2 marks, 3 marks, 2 marks, because this is easy. And don't make a mistake of ending with a semicolon, not here. So question 2, they are saying declare a constant called ratio and assign it to the value of that. So I'm sure by now you know how to declare a variable in C++ programming. So to declare a variable, now they want us to declare a constant variable. So this one is quite tricky. So to declare a constant variable. So a constant variable is a variable which is not going to be changed when the program is running. The value which you assign to that variable is going to be the permanent value. It can't be changed. It is just going to be constant like that. It can't be altered. In most of the books, they like using the word altered. I mean altering the value assigned to that variable. So we are declaring the constant variable called ratio. Now we are going to give this the data type. Even though data type is not specified, it is a trick which they have used, because for us to declare a constant variable, C++ demands us to also declare the data type, or else we are going to get a runtime error. So we now name the variable ratio. This is the name of the variable here. So const meaning this is a constant I'm declaring. Double, it is a data type. Okay, a data type is a double. Then the name of the variable ratio. Then we assign 0.556. Okay, we end with a semicolon. So if you are practicing, try to run the code, and if the program runs, then just know there's no error anywhere. So just like this, you get another 2 marks. Okay, so here they are saying now do a single line comment that shows another way of declaring ratio when the data type double is indicated. So this time they just want you to like come up with another way. Okay, come up with another way of declaring um, the ratio variable. Okay, let's go back to question 2. Let me just check the way it is. So they're saying declare a constant ratio, a constant called ratio and assign it the value. No, this one we are done, right? Yeah, they're saying do a single line comment that shows another way of declaring a ratio, another way of declaring ratio when data type double is indicated. So the other way, if you're using data type of double, the other way in which you can declare this variable is like this. If you look at the question carefully, they haven't said if it is a constant. So this time I'm assuming that it is not a constant because they haven't said it. So I'm sure by now you know how to do commenting. Let me go back to the question. Yes, so we are going to let's use this kind of commenting. Then when we say it can be done like this: double, then ratio. And the reason why ratio is a capital letter, it is more like a systematic way of writing C++ codes. Whenever the variable you are writing is meant to be constant, we usually capitalize it. It's like a culture. Yes. Now here, since they haven't said it is constant, but they still want it to be a capital letter, just to confirm. So we're just going to do it anyways. So say ratio, then you say equal to so 0.556. If you want, you can also write it as 5 divided by 9. But under one condition, since you are dealing with a double, it's going to be 5.0 divided by 9.0 instead of 5 divided by 9. Since we are dealing with a double, we are going to introduce 0.0. This is to avoid the final answer to be truncated where the decimals are ignored, because we are performing some sort of a calculation to assign a value to this variable. So that's why we have to do this. So this is the other way in which you can do it. Okay, so question 4, they are saying that declare the standard namespace. So I'm going to say using no, so this kind of commenting I've used, I need to close it by saying asterisk. Yeah, now we've closed the commenting. Okay, so they're saying using namespace std, then semicolon. Okay, so we've just declared the standard namespace. So what this step means is that it is the reason why we write using namespace std is to avoid conflicting of tools or variables. Yes, in case maybe you are working with libraries, let's say maybe you are in your program, you are working with like 2 libraries, then maybe one function or name happen to be found in both libraries. Then one of the libraries is an std library. This is a library where you find the functions for output and input. So to avoid conflicting, C++, by writing this statement, you tell C++ that if I use a function or a tool or a name to output to the user or to get input from the user, it is coming from this std namespace. Okay, it's okay if you don't understand, but for you guys who like understanding everything, that's what it means. So just like this, you've gotten question 4 correct. Then question 5, they're saying insert a one line. In fact, here, just since they didn't specify the commenting, it's okay, you can use this kind of commenting. Okay, a single line comment. Oh, I didn't see it. So they specified use a single line comment. So you guys need to understand that there are two types of commenting. Like I just didn't see it. There is single line commenting and the multi-line commenting. So single line commenting is where you start with 2 slashes, then you write whatever you want to comment with. Then multi-line commenting is the one which I wrote. Like I didn't really see that they specified single line commenting. So single line commenting, you can only comment one line, but multi-line commenting, the one I initially wrote, which looks like where you put this backslash, then asterisk, this slash. Like between these two, you can put many things. Okay, you can put many things which you want to comment out for the multi-line comment, but for the single line comment, you can't do this. Okay, so the multi-line comment allow you to comment like multiple lines in just a single comment. That's the multi-line. But single line, you can only do it on one line, one line of code. You can only comment in one line of code. So question 5, they're saying insert a one line multi-line comment explaining the purpose of the program. So they have said one line. So you, when you're writing there in your book, make sure that this stays in one line, but the kind of commenting should be multi-line. Just that my phone is small, so I had no other option but to go to the, but still I mean one line 16. Have you seen? Yes. So you write the purpose of the program. So here you can use your English. Let me see if they specify it. Yeah, so use your English here. So like me, I had to write this program converts temperature from Fahrenheit to Celsius. So let's go to question 6. They're saying declare the variable Fahrenheit of type float. Declare the variable Fahrenheit of the type float. So if you know how to declare a variable, so we are going to start by saying this is a float called Fahrenheit. We start with a capital letter. Let me just confirm. Yeah, it should be in capital letter. So Fahrenheit. And okay, so the program was run. So just like this, we've declared. So you know there's a difference between sometimes they'll just tell you to declare a variable. Sometimes they will tell you to also assign a value to that variable. So in declaring, what is important is to just write the data type, which is float, then the name of the variable, which is Fahrenheit. If they didn't say also assign a value, no need to say equals this and that. No need. So let's go to question 7. Question 7, they have said declare the variable Celsius of type double and initialize it with a value. And the process of assigning a value to a variable is called initializing, in case maybe they ask you. So there's declaring. What I've just done on question 6 is just declaring. When you say equal to this and that value, you have initialized that variable. The variable is initialized. So this variable on question 6, Fahrenheit, it is not initialized. These terminologies are very important if you're learning programming. Okay, so question 7, they're saying declare the variable Celsius of the type double. So if you know the way you initialize is you start by first declaring, right? So since they have said it has to be a double, I'm going to say double. So whatever I'm typing, you are supposed to be writing them with your pen. So I'm going to say double, and then the next thing that I'm going to say is the name of the variable is called what? Celsius, right? Celsius. Then I'll say equal to 0.0 semicolon. Make sure that whichever statement you type should end with a semicolon. Statement of the program, because that's the syntax for C++ programming. Okay, so just like this. So question 8, they're saying prompt the user to enter temperature in Fahrenheit. So this is where now you use those functions which I told you. Okay, so I'm going to say C out, then I'll put 2 double back arrows, then I'll put the double quote which are saying enter temperature in Fahrenheit. Let me just copy this statement here. Okay, let me just type it. So I'm going to say enter temperature. So here you can use your own English, enter temperature in Fahrenheit. This English, guys. Fahrenheit. This is how you pronounce Fahrenheit. Like this way, this word. What is this? So Fahrenheit. Okay, so let me put the closing semicolon. So boom, there it goes. It is saying enter temperature in Fahrenheit. So if you want to run the codes, click on play, this play button. So we have outputted. Now we want, when we output, a user to enter the temperature in Fahrenheit. So to put that statement, that code, that is going to help us to get data from the user through the console. And when I run this screen that I'm getting, it is called the console. This is the console. I don't know. The console. Those who play games, you have stuff to call the consoles, right? Yeah, even in programming, this is called the console. Or the terminal, in other words. Some people will call it the terminal. Others will call it the command line now. But the general one is either the console or the terminal. So read the temperature value in Fahrenheit variable. So we want to get that value which a user will enter. When a user enters, so like let me just go back to question 8. Have you seen? I've written C out. This C out means character output, meaning that we are outputting character to the user. Which character are we outputting? What I've just put in the double quotes, and it should be double quoted, not single quoted. Okay, so we need to get now data from the user, right? And another thing, this out here you've seen me using, I'm able to use this in C++ because of this iOS stream. which I included. This I've included a library. For you guys who don't know, you've just been memorizing these codes. Let me circle them. Have you seen this stuff I've just circled? And where is that other one? This. Because of these two things, I'm able to use those two tools to to display to the console or to the user the details, and also to get data, right? Because no, not what I've circled. Because of the include IO stream and the using namespace std. Because of let me just circle them again. I don't know why it is scrolling itself upwards, but because of you using namespace std and include IO stream is the reason why I'm able to output and also to get the input, because those things are there in our code. For you who don't see the reason why we include those things, I hope you know. If you don't have those two things, you see that when you try to output or to get data from the user, you won't be able to. Like it will maybe run an error, unless maybe the compiler that you are using has already, like, by default it has included it. It has included those, like the modern compilers, they usually do those things on your behalf. Yeah. So to read the temperature, we are going to say, so we need to, when we read, we need to store it in the Fahrenheit variable. So to get the data, I'm going to say cin, then I'll put the forward arrows, then that data which the user will enter, where do we want to store it? We want to store it in the variable which we just declared, which is Fahrenheit variable. So Fahrenheit variable. Let's hope I haven't. Okay, so let me just do this. Let me put some space here. Okay, so what's this? Yes, where were we? We were here. So I want data when I output it to appear more presentable. So I'm going to put a, for the sake of this practical which I'm doing with you, so I'm going to put the full colon, then a space, so that when I run these codes, at least there's some gap, right? There are some gaps. Okay, so maybe let's see the temperature enter is, then I click on enter, and on, if you're using the phone, to click on enter, you need to, let me show you. Those of you guys who are using a computer, you just click on enter there on your keyboard. Now, and then the keyboard has disappeared. Okay, so you have to click on the, have you seen this arrow, this symbol on your keyboard? This symbol which you use if you want to go on the next line. It's just that this one I'm using, it's not allowing me. Like when I bring this, it's disappearing. So when you click on enter, temperature in Fahrenheit, it's bringing us program finished. Okay, let's continue doing our code. So let's go to question 10. Question 10, they're saying calculate the Celsius equivalent and restore it in the Celsius variable. Use ratio in your formula. Okay, so for us to calculate the Celsius equivalent and store it in the Celsius variable. So store it in the Celsius variable. We have made the Celsius variable, okay? So use the ratio in your formula. So let's go back to the formula. So do you know how our formula is going to look like in this situation? Okay, so we are going to use this formula. Celsius is equal to 5 over 9. Now, 5 over 9, we have declared it as a ratio, which is 0. What? 0.556. So as it's 5 over 9, I'm going to put ratio variable because we've stored the equivalence of 5 over 9. Let me show you what we are going to do. Where are we? So calculate the Celsius. So we are going to update the Celsius variable. Let me do this. Okay. So I'm going to say Celsius is equal to. So by doing this, I'm updating the variable. This Celsius variable, initially we assigned 0.0 to it, right? So since it was not even constant, have you seen the difference? If the variable is constant, I can't do what I'm doing right now. I can't update it with new values. I can't do that. Since this is not constant, it is dynamic. I can change its values as time goes on in our program on the runtime. So we're going to say ratio, which is 9 over 5. I don't know if 5 over 9. Let me check. Yeah. So ratio is equal to 5 over 9. So I'm going to put ratio. Then the formula is going like times Fahrenheit. To use times, use this operator. Fahrenheit is times open and closing bracket. Fahrenheit, which is what a user has just entered. Fahrenheit minus 32. That's the formula, right? Then we can do this. Let's run this. Let's say I enter 50. No. Right now we haven't yet outputted. Okay, so this step, it will be like storing. It will be converting what the user has entered. Then we update the Celsius variable, since it is not a constant variable but a dynamic variable. So question 11 is saying that display the temperature in Celsius. The display after the program runs should read something like 4.5 degrees. So that just an example. Let me check. Okay. So first let me just output. So I'll say cout backslash arrows Celsius. Yeah, outputting the Celsius. Just let me do this. So right now it has just outputted. Now they want us to output in a certain way. Okay, so we need to be able to not just output the figure, but it should be accompanied with or accompanied by by some statement saying, let me show you what they have said, degrees Celsius. So I'm going to do this. After this Celsius, I'm going to put another double arrows. Then I'll put the double quotes with the statements which I want to come after the Celsius. after the digits of the Celsius have been displayed, like they'll come next to these statements will be next to the figures of the Celsius when we output. So it's going to be degrees Celsius. Now, for us to end this statement, in a situation whereby you are not just outputting one thing, but a combination of things, you need to do this. Don't just end here. You need to put another double back arrows. I don't know if that's what they are called. Then you put, meaning that you are ending this output, end L, end line. Let's see if we are going to get an error. So let's say 50. Okay, so let me do this. Let me put a space here. So let me run. So if you want to convert maybe to, you have 50 Fahrenheit, you want to convert it to degrees Celsius, you enter, then you, so it's going to say 50 Fahrenheit is equal to 6,588 degrees Celsius. So here they're saying return 0 to end, indicate successive program termination. Okay, so you know that whenever you are dealing with C++ programming, your program need to end with 0. 0, it will tell the compiler that this is where the execution of the code should end from. It's like you are saying, you know the way it is when you write in English, that whenever you are done, you should end with a full stop. In programming, whenever you are like writing, saying you need to end with return 0, it's like you're saying this is where the execution of the program should end from. So return 0. Let's run this. Okay, so I think we've just answered. All right, so this is simple, right? Yeah. So we've answered these two questions. And for you guys who are my students, maybe I shared the links in the group. The group for those who my subscribed students, I shared a link where I shared the videos which you can watch and materials to use to learn C++ programming. So I hope you made use of those. But I'm going to make video lessons in the near future, or maybe next coming intake, teaching C++ and Excel, since this is where most of the challenges are. Okay, so I don't know the feedback that I'll get from this video. If it will motivate me, maybe I might make another video solving, is this even solving? Answering this, we just revised the whole paper together. If you guys would like me to do that, yes, so comment there in the comment section. And make sure that you subscribe to this YouTube channel so that you can be able to receive an update whenever I upload something new to help you. Okay, especially as you are preparing for your final exam. And yeah, make sure you also subscribe to A Plus Academy platform. This is a platform where you access video lessons for math, physics, chemistry, biology, and we are also going to be offering CS110 as well. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this lesson. Make sure that you leave a comment there. And I repeat, subscribe to support the YouTube channel and share this video with your friends. Don't be stingy with the knowledge. Alright, I hope that you've enjoyed and have a very, very nice day. Alright, students, so this is the A Plus Academy app. So this is where you find pre-recorded video lessons for NS work from term 1 to term 3 and other documents which are necessary. Okay, so just go on Play Store and search for A Plus Academy app. This is the app icon that you should go for. When you download, open the app by going on open. So when you just log in, make sure that you create an account, then log in. You see these videos and documents. Okay, so you find this screen. So go under here, under videos. So select the term. Let's say if you want videos for term 3, go on term 3. If you want videos for math, go on MA110. So in case maybe you are very behind that you don't know trig, these are the only videos you need to watch in order to be able to solve any question under trigonometry. Okay, so everything has been taught. We were focused on things which they bring on the exam. And this video that you are watching right now, all the concepts which are going to be used or which are being used to solve any question under trig, the concepts are in these videos. These videos are very manageable. You just need maybe like a week or 2 weeks, depending with the pace, but they are very summarized. Okay, and we've also exposed you to exam questions. So apart from the videos for trig, there are also videos for calculus. You'll find the videos here. So we've also solved a bunch of questions in these videos to expose you to all possible questions they can ever bring on calculus. So these are the only videos you need to watch. All right, and also in case you want to access the documents, there are also some solved documents here. All the past papers, the tutorial sheet, they have been solved here. Okay, so just go under solved past papers. You find all the sessionals that have been solved. Even the past papers, the tutorial sheets are all available. Okay, and even term 1 week, term 2 week, in case maybe you are very behind, you didn't understand term 1 week, you're not very comfortable, videos are already here. Okay, if it's term 2, all these term 2 topics, you find the simplified videos. So all the knowledge that's going to be used in this video and that's been used in this video is found on A Plus Academy app. So make sure that you download the app and subscribe. For more information, contact me on the number which I'll put there on the screen.